Hey everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video. It's 2:42 p.m. Central on Tuesday, December 2nd, and we're just looking to play the close today. And today, sometimes in the close, there's two things I like to look at. Is that, if you kind of rally into the 240, 252 level, typically then there's like some profit-taking sell-off after. So that's one thing I'm looking at here, and to see about putting some type of bearish play on. And what's nice about this time of day is you can put them on pretty cheap. Now I don't know if this one will work, but what I did is I just bought the 68.30 put and sold the 68.20 put against it to kind of reduce the cost for 90 cents. And then because my max risk on this is 90 cents, I'm not going to put a stop loss on it. I'm just going to walk away and either maybe we'll close at 68.40 and then this will go to zero, okay? Or maybe we get some kind of sell-off into the close and this possibly goes to max profit at 10. But the point of this is that I've decided, like, okay, well, I'm willing to risk 90 cents on this, which on a 10 lot is 900 bucks. And then the key with this at this moment in time is to take yourself out of the equation. Now what could happen is it goes to $1.80, and if we would have sold it, it's like, man, we would have had a double. But then maybe it does go, to 68.20. Right? So the point here is that, on a trade like this, I'm totally fine risking this, and now my goal is to take myself out of it. Because the last 15 minutes of the day, it's, we don't exactly know what's going to happen, right? And maybe we do spike up, and so maybe I should have bought one to the upside. But what I like about this trade is that, okay, well, we do have a ready aim fire. We've got, we're kind of topping out here a little bit. If you follow spot gamma, there's not anything really clear today. There's not like a big strike there. But what I'm looking at is, okay, if we get some kind of a little weird spike to the downside, I'm covered. So that's all it is. So we'll kind of look and see how it ends up. But let's take a look at the markets real quick. All right, so the main thing here on the daily charts of the S&P 500, remember when I'm talking here, I'm just talking for like the next 5 days. I'm not talking long term or anything like that. Long term, the trend is higher. We do have a squeeze here. In the short term, we are extended above the 21 EMA, and that's about 67.50, and we always revert back to the mean. And also, typically after a pause of 3 to 5 days, which is what's happening here, typically you see a reversion. So if you go back and say, okay, we rally, here's a pause, we revert. We rally, there's a pause for a couple days, we revert. And of course, sometimes you get stuff like this, especially after a squeeze. But if we look again here, a little more than 5 days, we revert. You get up here, 3 to 5 days, revert. 3 to 5 days, revert. So I'm kind of looking that we're going to test 67.50 in the near term, like this week. But we could also come up here and test 69.25. So we're kind of in the middle there. Does the squeeze fire? Are we going to, how is all this going to work out? In a perfect world, we would flush down to 67.50. We would close out bearish trades and get long here. Of course, the perfect world in the markets never quite exists because it's always going to do what it's going to do. But that's what we want to look at. Now, that being said, you do have a stock like Apple and Google, which look fantastic. So how is it possible that a market, could even consider going down when you've got Apple and Google, essentially looking like this? And it's a great question, and that's because the rest of the Mag 7 kind of looks like this. So you've got two of the Mag 7 stocks, Apple and Google, that look amazing, and then the rest of them, Microsoft, Meta, they're certainly lagging. Okay, they're not leading anything. So that's what we kind of got to work with here, and what we're looking at. And then of course we want to keep an eye on interest rates here. TLT. So if TLT is going up, that means interest rates are coming down, and if TLT is falling. So interest rates here were nice. They dropped down to close to 4%, and then whack. So we're here at this 200 SMA on TLT. And just to see, is this going to be enough to kind of get things going again? And if we look at interest rates, the actual interest rate here, you can see, we'd come down to kind of this magic 4% level, and we're back up here at 4.1%, and not a huge jump. We're not like at like back here. We're not seeing anything like that, but an indication that if rates kind of fall under 4, that's something that could not only help real estate, but it's also an indication that any inflation concerns are kind of, being kind of met there, so to speak. All right, let's go back in and check in our play. It's 2:49, so the markets have 11 minutes left. And again, there's really no good structure here on the big gamma levels today. There's a big negative gamma level at 68.40. Typically, that means that's resistance. And so, can we get some selling into the close? But my thing is not gonna get interesting unless we fall through 68.30 like in the last 5 minutes. You can see right now it's trading at 60 cents. So that's all we got here. So we'll see kind of what hangs up. And we may just end up the other trade here, because we do have a big negative gamma strike at 68.40, is that the idea is that just becomes resistance. And so the other trade here I like is that if we do pop up here into 252, is actually selling the 68.40, 68.45 call credit spread as another trade. And it might be enough where we get enough credit that if it works, that could offset if we lose in the other one. So I'll go ahead and set that up. All right, so what happened? Well, we came down from 68.40, which was great, but we weren't able to fall enough. So the debits, we went in at 68.2937. So the debit spread, you can see here, got it for 90 cents. It'll cash settle at 65 cents. So small loss. Not the full 90 cents, but it's been interesting because we've been doing these pretty regularly. Today it was different because we didn't have the big gamma strike, but we've had a lot of 10x plays on this. You sell this at 90 or buy it at 90 cents, and it'll go through both strikes, and you're at $9-10 or something like that, which is great. So anyway, we'll keep looking at these. We do these every day in the room. We had a 10x one yesterday, actually a 12x one yesterday. We did a put debit spread that was pretty far out of the money, and then the market swooned into it. And well, you can see what that looks like here. So yesterday was interesting because we did something similar where we did the 68.25, 68.10 put debit spread right about here. So it was grind, and then we ended up letting it cash settle, and we got those at $2.50, and it cash settled at $12.63. Which was pretty awesome. It's like it was a 5-bagger. That one was kind of nice. Anyway, look at those into the close. You guys have a good one. We'll see you at the next update.
Hey, John here with Simpler Trading. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, comment down below and let us know what topic you want to see us cover next. Also, be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon so you can get notified when we release new videos. And if you want to watch us trade in real time using our own money, go to simplertrading.com and learn how to sign up. Good trading, and we'll see you next time.